Robby Foley.
Yeah.
And Jay, I forget your last name.
O'Connell. Jay
O'Connell.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey everyone, we're here at Sonoma Raceway. We've had a unprecedented odd week of racing that was, we sort of didn't do much for a couple of days in the middle, but they've got the track repaved. It's holding up so far. We got a racing yesterday. We finished P3 here in our 29 Leda Crete BMW. With very limited running, the Turner guys gave us a great car, so happy to be here. One more race today and try to be on the podium again.
How's the track? Because it's been a while because you guys took basically a year off from running SRO.
Yeah.
We ran here before with the described pavement.
Yeah, old. Crap is good. Yeah, it was on its way out. It's very, very different. As you say, we didn't really run this series last year. We ran one race, so back on the Pirelli tires is a big adjustment for us coming from IMSA. And the track itself is basically just faster with a lot more grip. The race pace is like 6 seconds quicker because there's very little tire drag. Between like 5 and 6 seconds, a peak lap time is 3 to 4 seconds faster. So the track's more physical, it's faster, more fun. The tires like it because the tires don't drag off. You used to get one lap here to do your lap time, and then it would fall off seconds. So
maybe similar to Laguna.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So anytime you get a new pavement, it generally has more grip and takes care of the tires. The reason the tires kind of go away quicker on a lower grip track is because they slide across the surface, overheat, sort of, and that kind of degs the tire down. So here we have very little tire deg. As the fuel burns off, we keep kind of the same lap time. It's pretty fun.
And we're running here CCA next month, High Performance Driving School.
Yeah.
What tips do you have for us Indians and street cars?
Well, I would say the line is fairly similar. In turn one, you can use a little bit more radius, a little bit more track on the right side of the road to kind of open the corner because there used to be no grip out there. Now there is some. So I found that in the race yesterday. In general, the rest of the lines are pretty much the same, just with more grip. You'll notice you're going a lot faster with more grip for no real reason other than there's more grip. They've repaved some sections, turn 11, last corner relative to repave this week.
It's the fresher from this week.
Yeah, the fresher stuff is slightly more slippery in turn 11, but still a lot more grip than before. So they're patching up the track in certain places, the chicane, which I don't think you guys will run. You'll run the normal course, but there's some concrete down there now, and turn 3 has a little bit of a patch where the track was coming up. So they're monitoring it constantly. Who knows how they'll keep up with it, but it'll be interesting to see as cars run on it if it kind of wears in and gets consistent, or they're going to still have these problems. It's hard to say.
The Cougars had some issues too. They had to do some repairs.
Sure,
since they repaved it.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see guys run there. Next month.
Yeah, not too long. We're going to test there. We're looking forward to that. So that should be fun.
Is it after Long Beach you're testing?
Yep, just after Long Beach.
And I would add for your guys coming here next month, since the grip is up, you're going to be rolling more, diving more, moving more. You might want to run a little more camber because you're going to roll off your tires a little bit more, and you could use more camber to get more grip. Interestingly, Pirelli has limited the camber we can run this year in an effort to keep their tires from coming apart. So we're actually running a lower camber than we would have run here in the past, even though we're going much faster. But that's only by the rules. If I had a choice, I would definitely run more camber to try and get.
How much camber are you running, like what you're restricted to? What's the max you can?
Well, we're restricted to 4 degrees on the front, so we're right at -4, but I would run -5 if I could. And then the rear, we're limited to 3.5, and we're running about 3. So trying to keep a camber split front to rear. Generally, we run more camber in the front than the rear to reduce the understeer of the car. And the same would go for all the BMWs you're going to run here in your club event. So, because I've had an E46 M3, done a lot of club events, and had a lot of fun with that. And my trick was I would take the rear wheel and tire, put it on the front, get a square setup, and then get rid of all the understeer and go really fast. So, because you think about, we're running a very wide front wheel. The front wheels are 12.5 inches wide here, and the rear wheels are 13. So there's only a half-inch difference, and we would run a 13-inch front if they let us, just to get more grip and get rid of the understeer. BMWs are 50-50, and when you take a car to this extreme, you tend to lighten the back of the car, removing all the interior and so forth. So then we work hard to maintain 50-50, but we're still sometimes front tire limited. Understeer tends to creep up more than oversteer. So if we could, we'd run more front tire and basically reduce our understeer. you think about, the cornering is split 50-50, but braking is predominantly on the front axle. And you're really loading that front axle when you're going into the corners and then transitioning to power on the way out. So the front tires are also slightly shorter in diameter, and so there's a little less belt length, a little less rubber to warm up. But all in all, the balance has been pretty good. We worked off of our setups from 2 years ago here, made the car a little more neutral with the high grip track, and Robby and Justin are enjoying that.
So any adjustments have been made between the race yesterday, knowing the results, and then today's final race?
Yep.
Making any changes that you can?
Well, because we're using two cars, we've been using the results from each race and then making subtle changes to the other car, because they start out identical and then we're trying to keep them identical. So, we added a little bit of rear bar between the GTA Race 1 and World Challenge Race 1 yesterday, and then we've lowered the World Challenge car slightly for today, just trying to build on what we learned yesterday.
Normally by the time we get to the race, we're pretty much happy, but considering the lack of track time we've had and lack of testing in general, we're sort of treating these sessions as practice almost. So it's been fun to learn on the fly.
I guess the good news in the bigger race, there's no Audi R8s to...
That's true. We have some Audi R8 wedged in our BMW.
But they said they didn't do it.
Right, yeah.
They said they didn't hit us, but a piece of their car is stuck in our car. So something happened.
There's a million chance. It just flew up and got wedged in there.
Exactly.
Made a hole in the back.
It's a blue piece and it says R8 on it, so I have no idea what that could be.
Clearly it's an AMG.
Yeah. So we're enjoying being back at Sonoma. Beautiful weather today, and looking forward to Race 2 and World Challenge.
Awesome.
Robby, first of all, congratulations on your appointment as a factory driver.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Been following your career and climbing up to the different ranks. Do you have a particular favorite car that you've driven so far, BMW?
It's a good question. I was very lucky to drive the M8 GTLM car for some testing, probably 5 or 6 times. That's a super cool car because it's so unique, and there was only a few of them in the world, and so complicated. So they were constantly evolving things, changing things. Like the steering wheel was as complicated as an F1 car. So that was a cool car to drive. In general, the newer cars get a step better and better in each way. So this car is great fun. We've had some success with it so far, the M4 GT3, but I would say if I had to pick one, the M8 GTLM car.
If they let him drive the GTP car, that'll probably up the list. But
if I could fit.
Yeah.
That's true, because if you look at the lineup, they're all pretty short.
Yeah. I'm vertically challenged the wrong way. Yeah.
They do well enough, they'll make the exception.
If they give him a chance to drive it, he'll probably say yes.
Yeah. I might cut off a limb or two, but I'll figure it out.
Whatever makes you fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, enjoy the race today. I think we're starting P6. Robby at the wheel. And see if we can move forward before he hands it off to Justin at the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, and battle with Samantha Tan Racing, essentially the same car.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both stinks.
Starting first, yep.
So
yeah, Justin was battling with Sam Tan, and then they came in nose to tail, and they left nose to tail, and then Robby and Neil Verhagen picked up the battle and continued on.
Now, what Neil had said, Robby had made a slight mistake, and he was able to pounce on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. I think he's a Terminator. He made a mistake. Boom, he's right by. Because he's a super fast driver.
Yeah.
He said he rarely make mistakes.
Yep.
And he happened to notice that one.
Yeah, I was trying to get around on the Mercedes that the gap was kind of consistent. We were catching together a Mercedes. And I was thinking, it's a really hard track to pass. How am I going to pass the Mercedes and not let Neil by? Well, I was unsuccessful in not letting Neil by, but we eventually both passed the Mercedes. So I went to turn 3 a little fast, lost the rear of the car, and then just basically let Neil get a small run. But here, unlike other tracks, there's very little straightaway. As you guys know, we're always turning. And these cars, we have such downforce, these big wings and aero. When you're stuck behind somebody, you lose performance. And you're trying to just get close, trying to work them over. It's very difficult to pass because you need to get close enough. If you're driving with equal cars, you're really not going to pass someone unless they make an error or there's some traffic or other circumstance. So the races are more like chess match in these cars here, just because you have to plan your run, basically.
Yeah, without the drag reduction system they use in Formula One, it's hard to get a run at the end of a straightaway. Those guys, the rule is if they're within 1 second of the car ahead, they can reduce the wing angle, pick up 10 miles an hour on the straight, makes the pass much easier. Here we don't have that. It would be great. We could engineer it in, but we would get penalized for dropping the wing angle right on the straight.
Yeah.
So
I got to say, from a spectator standpoint, that was some amazing racing.
Yeah, I think we were three wide at some point.
Yeah.
Neil, myself, and the Mercedes. We both got by. It was a good battle, good race for sure.
Well, Robbie's looking for every little mistake from the Mercedes ahead as you caught him. And then Neil's looking at the dynamic of what's Robby going to do when he gets the Mercedes, and can he take advantage of that?
Right.
So I challenged Robby a couple laps before that happened. I said, so you got to get around this Mercedes and not let Neil by. And he said, good luck. I'm like, no, you need the luck.
Yeah, right.
So it's very difficult. Very difficult
to accept it.
Yeah.
Get by the Mercedes, don't let Neil by.
But I could see what's coming, and as he could too, because you're in the car, you could see the play developing, and now you're like, okay, how am I going to use this guy as a pick, or how am I going to use him as a block? And Verhagen's thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Sometimes the catbird seat is better because you can see it all transpiring behind you. And we caught another car. One of the Mercedes teams did a different strategy. They flip-flopped their drivers. So they started their fast driver, finished with their slower driver. So there was a dynamic of like we were catching the slower driver, and that was like the last couple positions we made at the end was just. So there's a.
Yeah, you were catching that guy 4 seconds a lap.
Yeah.
He was 40 seconds out there at the pit stop, and then 10 laps later, you're on him. It's just 4 seconds a lap.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen quite soon enough to help you with the Neil and Mercedes situation. It happened a couple laps after that. So.
Other worked out, podium finish, nothing to really complain about.
No, first race weekend back in SRO in a while. First race weekend for Justin. He did a great job. He's doing a great job. So we'll take that momentum and try to keep improving throughout the year.
And how was it? Obviously, your previous partners have been shorter than you.
Yeah.
How's it adjusted to a guy who's actually taller?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Vin Barletta was always taller, but Justin's even taller than Vin. So there's 3 positions for the seat in this car, like a high one, middle one, and a lower one. I've never been able to drive on the lower one because I'm always driving with somebody shorter. So I'm always sitting really high, and they're always sitting a little bit low. So now we're both pretty comfortable. So it's cool.
With the seat in the low position.
Seats in the low position, in the normal size person position.
The fully position, and then the high between Bill Arbor.
Yeah, exactly. So Bill and I, we made a compromise. We drove in the middle.
Yeah.
But when I drove with them in Indy last year, they're like, okay, Chandler and Bill want the high one, 2 against 1. So I was like, looking down, Yeah, you couldn't, if you were looking straight at the car, my helmet was above the windshield banner. You couldn't see my head. It looked like I was driving headless. Headless driver.
Crazy.
Pretty good headless driver.
Well, we'll see who we end up with at the Indy 8 hour, and that could change the dynamic again.
Could
Except you get 2-on-1, you're probably 2-on-1 on the low seat.
You can always put a pad to raise somebody up. You can't take a, you can't
do a negative. Yeah.
Right.
Basically, chop off a bit of a leg or something.
All you can do is the Dan Gurney bubble.
Yeah.
But we'd rather not have the helmet above the roll cage. So it's probably not the best. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the race today.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Always.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll see you at...
Have fun when you get here. Yeah, have fun when you get here next month, right?
Yeah. Long Beach.
Long Beach.
Oh, good. Yeah, we'll be there in 2 weeks. So very good.
And we'll be at Cover for this series race then.
And Long Beach will be unique because we're running the GTE car in the IMSA race, and we're running the GT America car. So you'll see me changing shirts in the pit lane every half an hour.
Yeah.
So because you have the appropriate sponsorship in each pit lane.
Well, we're on this car for SRO, and then obviously our IMSA car.
Yeah. So which will actually help because we'll use the SRO car to warm up the track for the IMSA car and get a little bit of insight on how is the setup working. Because we'll set the cars up almost the same, even though one's on Pirelli, one's on Michelin.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when the 56 between the two tires on the same circuit.
Yeah.
During the same conditions.
Yeah.